Hello and welcome to MS TechHub. This is the continuation of React series. In this video, we are going to discuss about the components. What is component? The components is nothing. These are the building blocks of a UI. Suppose we are having a user interface and the user interface has been broken into the different parts like logo, header, menu, and the contents. So the logo is the separate component and the menu is the separate component. Similarly, the content is the separate component and the header is the separate component. In the React, the components are two types. The functional components and the class components. So the functional components are the stateless component and the class components are the stateful components. The functional components are basically called JavaScript functions, and the class components are the ES6 classes that extend from the React component. React component is nothing. It is actually a component which have been already provided by the React. The functional components are returns the JSX element directly, whereas class component returns the render methods and it is further returns the JSX element. And functional components uses hooks to manage the local component state. The hooks has been introduced in the React version 16.0, so you can use the hooks in the 16.0 or later versions. Then in the class component, we uses this dot state to manage the local component state, and to update the state we use this dot set state method. And here in the functional component, we are having useEffect method to manage the effect of lifecycle events. And the class component, we are having component.bound and component.update methods to update the lifecycle of the event. And in the functional component signature, we are having the JSX directly returned. And the class component has been implemented by the React component, and it uses the render methods to return some JSX in it. Let's see some example. The Visual Studio code we have seen in the previous video. Now we are having a component, a functional component which is returning all the elements. So let's start first of all, npm start This is the same project we have been created in the previous video. So this is the component, this is the functional component and the main component where the HTML is rendering on the UI. So let's remove these components and create a new folder for the new components. And let's create a new file, and we are going to create a functional component in it. So the function component.js. So here, first of all, import the React. And create function hello world. And we are returning nothing, and h1 element we are going to return, saying hello world. Let's also export this particular component, export as default. save the file. Now the component is ready. So we have to include this particular component onto the app component, which is the root component. So let's include hello world. Make sure the import statement should be there. Save the application. Let's refresh the page. So it has been already rendered that hello world. So it is coming from this functional component. Let's write coming from functional component. Functional component hello world. Coming from functional component hello world, right? So I'm going to create new component, which is the class component, class component.js. So let us import React first of all and create a class name hello world class, and that should extend from the React.Component, which is the base component. And now we are using the render method and further returning the h1 and further returning the h1 element. Saying hello world from class component. And don't forget to export default hello world class. And now also okay, I have forgotten the export. Okay, now let us include this component also into the hello world from class. And you see, once when I enter, so the namespace is automatically added and the import statement has been added. So when I open the browser, so it is saying that hello world from the class component. So we have seen that how we can create the class component and the functional component both. And you see we have included the default here. So the difference is default. When we have mentioned that the default as a default, so while we are importing this statement, so we need not to use the curly braces over here. First change, and the second change is we can even use any name. We can use hello world or hello world 1 or anything. We can even change the name if we are exporting as a default. So it is working fine. By the way, there is a typo here. Let me correct it. So that's it in this video. Thanks for watching.